When tested using a ballistic pendulum, kinetic energy completely fails to demonstrate it can do any work at all. In this case, a high velocity is captured by a big mass and presumably will capture a lower velocity, and 99% of the momentum might be conserved, and in the case of a bullet, 99.94% of the kinetic energy will be nowhere found. They'll claim it's lost its heat or some other thing, but they'll never show you that heat. They'll never stick a thermometer in there and show you that 99.94% of the kinetic energy is in some form of heat. So it just completely fails to demonstrate that kinetic energy can do any work whatsoever and that it's actually real energy.
Stop lying and do your research, Gary. What you don't seem to realize is that most scientists aren't YouTubers. They don't publish their work through social media. You are just sitting there on your lazy ass in your cellar, demanding the whole world to show you everything you want to see. But that's not how it works, Gary. If you truly want information, you'll have to get up your ass or search the internet more deeply instead of making hundreds of videos complaining and complaining. Anyway, so here is me again doing the research work for you. Here are several reputable scientific and engineering sources that directly measure or model how kinetic energy lost in impacts turns into heat, deformation, and sound. Links will be provided in the description box. Now, I won't go through the entire papers. That would take me way too much time. I will only give you a summary of the paper. It's your job to go through the entire papers, and if you truly care about experiments, then you should do so. Paper number 1, Plastic Deformation. Heat, Modeling Bullet Impacts. A wildfire ignition study by the U.S. Forest Service reviews how plastic deformation converts kinetic energy into heat during high-speed impacts. The paper reports, for most metals, more than 90% of the energy dissipated during rapid plastic deformation is converted into heat. Numerical simulations show that impact surfaces at rifle-like velocities, approximately 700 to 1,000 meters per second, can exceed 500 degrees Celsius. Even at sub-ballistic speeds, sample experiments show temperature rises of more than 350 degrees Celsius due to induced deformation. This confirms that the majority of lost kinetic energy becomes measurable heat, not energy disappearing into the void. Paper number 2, Bullet Flight Temperature Measurements. A study published in Sensors, 2020, details experiments measuring the surface temperature of bullets in flight. It's the first experimental investigation of its kind to capture how bullet surface temperatures evolve while traveling at 300 to 900 meters per second. The study uses infrared thermometry and thermal camera recording to map temperature variations across the bullet's surface. This confirms the capability to measure fast temperature changes under real ballistic conditions. And finally, here's a great video that actually shows the heat generated when a bullet interacts with a target, captured using a high-speed infrared thermal camera. What's going on in this video? The FLIR X6900SC high-speed thermal camera captures a bullet in flight and details how heat develops upon impact. You can visibly see the thermal signature, meaning actual temperature rise, not just a conceptual claim. This is direct experimental evidence that a significant portion of kinetic energy becomes heat during ballistic events. Conclusion. Why so much heat is plausible? Energy density. Bullets carry hundreds to thousands of joules. Compressing all that energy into a small, fast deformation must raise local temperatures drastically. Experimental evidence. As I showed before, thermal cameras and impact studies measure fragments reaching hundreds of degrees Celsius, even glowing hot. Gary imagines there should be a big glowing block or a thermometer spike. But the energy is spread over a small volume, such as the bullet tip or splintering wood fibers. The heating is localized and very fast, so unless you use thermal cameras, you won't notice it. But scientists have measured it. Fragments 800 degrees Celsius. Mushroomed bullets warm to the touch. So the fact he doesn't see it with his eyes doesn't mean it's impossible. And as always, Gary will remain absolutely unconvinced and prefers to continue living in his own physics world of fantasy.